You gave class yesterday, no? Ah, okay. All right, so we'll read from 17 to text 27. We'll turn the Sanskrit and English together. Teshang jnani nityayukta eka bhakti vishishyate priyo hi janino tyartham aham satcha mama priya. Of these, the wise one who is in full knowledge and union with me through pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. Text 18. Udara sarva evaite jnani tvatmaiva me matam astita sahi yuktatma mamevanuttamang gatim. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls. But he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider very well in me. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he attains me. Text 19. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mang prapadyate vasudeva savamriti samahatma sudurlabham. After many births and deaths, he who actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. Text 20. Kamaistaistar hityajnana prapadyante devata tam niyamamastaya pakritya niyata swayan. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrendered unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. 621. Yo yo yang tanum bhakta shradayarchitum ichati tasya chalang shraddhang tameva vidahamyaham. I am in everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship the demigods, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to some particular deity. 622. Sattaya shradaya yuktas tasyaradhanam ihate labate chattata kamang mayaiva vihitang hitan. Endowed with such a faith, he seeks favors of a particular demigod and attains his desires, but in actuality these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Text 23. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta madyanti. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Text 24. Avyaktam vyaktim apanam manyante mama bhudayah param bhavam ajananto mama vyayam anuttamam. Unintelligent men who know me not think that I have assumed this form and personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is changeless and supreme. Text 25. Nahang prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita mudho yang nabhijanati loko mam ajamavyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my eternal creative potency, yogamaya, and so the deluded world knows me not, who am unborn and infallible. Text 26. Vedahang samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishani chabhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. Text 27. Icha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarvabhutani samohang sargayanti parantapa. O sign of Bharata, Arjuna, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, overcome by the dualities of desire and hate. So we'll go back to text 16 or 17, whatever. Okay. Of these, the wise who is in full knowledge and union with me through pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. Purport. Free from all contamination of material desires, the distressed, the inquisitive, the penniless, and the seeker after supreme knowledge can all become pure devotees. But out of them, he who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. And of the four orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotional service is, the Lord says, the best. By searching after knowledge, one realizes that his self is different from his material body. And with further advance, he comes to knowledge of the impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When one is fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of God. So by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker after material amelioration, and the man in knowledge all become themselves pure. But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord and is at the same time executing devotional service is very dear to the Lord. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of God is so protected in devotional service that material contaminations cannot touch him. So we'll read the next one. It's kind of combined with this verse. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider verily to dwell in me. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he attains me. It is not that the other devotees who are less complete in knowledge are not dear to the Lord. The Lord says that all are magnanimous because anyone who comes to the Lord for any purpose is called a Mahatma or great soul. The devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit. And when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. But the devotee in full knowledge is considered to be very dear to the Lord because his only purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Such a devotee cannot live a second without contacting or serving the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very fond of his devotee and cannot be separated from him. In Srimad Bhagavatam 9.457, the Lord says, Aham bhakta paradino hyasvatantra hidvijah sadhubhi grasta hridayo bhaktir bhakta jana priya. The devotees are always in my heart, and I am always in the heart of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There is a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch, and therefore they are very much dear to me. So there's a difference between the initial neophyte devotees which approach the Lord for some material reasons, like was mentioned in text 16, that there are four types of pious people. And these are people who, pious in this sense means they're interested in devotional service. That's what makes them pious. The distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. Even this neophyte person has some preliminary knowledge of Krishna, and they're pious. They're not sinful people. But during the stressful times, they come and take shelter of Krishna for some material reason. So this is pretty high level. This is the example is given of the distressed. Anyone else? Who is the example that's given in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Who approached the Lord, distressed, the example. Who? Uttara. That's not the example that's given for distress. Anyone knows? I think it's in the Nectar devotion as well. Gajendra. There you go. That's Gajendra. What about desire of wealth? Dhruva Maharaj. What about the inquisitive? First canto. Not exactly Persha Maharaj, but Who recites it again? Shuka, to who? To the Sutta, no. To the sages and Naimisharanya. So they're considered inquisitive. Yeah. And then searching for knowledge, this is more like, I think this is Sutta. Wait a second. Searching for knowledge is, it might be Parikshik actually. I can't remember this one. But anyways, these are pretty high elevated devotees, those examples that are given for these distressed, desire wealth, inquisitive, and searching for knowledge. These are practically sinless personalities who follow Vedic culture very strongly. So a lot of times devotees like to say, I remember one time someone asked me, which one are you, Prabhu? Which one did you come? I was like, none of them. I'm a sinful rascal. I didn't know anything about Krishna. I didn't approach Krishna at all. I don't even, without devotees coming to me, I would have never approached Krishna. There's no way. So it's like, you can't compare me to any of these. These are pious people. They know about Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Yudhindra in distress prayed to the Supreme Lord, beautiful prayers. Dhruv Maharaj also approached directly Narayana. So these are not ordinary souls. So I jumped the gun. I think I was curious. Yeah, but who did you approach for your curiosity? Your own mind, speculation, and searching some impersonal idea of God, or all these different traditions that were imperfect. But unless devotees tell you, hey, Baba, wake up. There's Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is who you're supposed to approach. Then we would have no standing in Krishna consciousness. So, out of those who actually have knowledge, full knowledge of Krishna, Krishna says that they're the best, because they generally, as Prabhupada mentions, they're not interested in some mundane, they just want to know Krishna more. So Krishna is more pleased, they're more purified, you can say. And therefore, they're more dear to Krishna, as Krishna is making the point. So it's better to not approach the Lord for some material thing. And, yeah. You have something? Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to understand, just before we moved on, I wanted to understand this part of the where it says that where was it? That they're not, it can't be touched, but right. He was situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of God, is so protected in devotional service that material contaminations cannot touch him. I want that.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
This is in the second text, right? I think it is. Is it? 17. Well, I can't personally help you, but I can repeat what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So that's the boat. We read this already in the 4th chapter. Prabhupada was actually just repeating the same verse. Let me see if I can bring it up. 4th chapter. I think it's in end after. No. So this is this part after, it's like 36, text 36. Even if you're considered, 436, even if you're considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So that's how powerful transcendental knowledge is. That as long as you remain faithful and absorbed in this knowledge and continue in Krishna consciousness, then you'll be protected even from accidentals fall downs or accidental sinful activities that may happen. So we just have to stay on the boat of Krishna consciousness. And that will protect us from anything this material world may throw at us if we stay situated at the lotus feet of Krishna. If we don't reject this knowledge for our own ideas or somebody else's ideas, or we don't pollute the knowledge to justify our own anarthas or selfish actions, then there's some hope always for us, as long as we hold on to this realizations and this knowledge. So, is that okay? There's also another point. Mam cho vyabhicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitetam brahma bhuya kalpate. That by this vyabhichari bhakti, relentless devotional service being fixed on this path, then the modes of material nature cannot touch one. Eventually, Prabhupada mentions this, not Prabhupada, but Krishna mentions this a couple verses back, that Daivi he shagunamai mama maya duratya mameva ye prapadyante mayamitam tirandite, that this divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. I was just speaking to someone about this today. This devotee. I was telling this devotee that the reason one should follow the 4 rags and chant 16 rounds, and, that is actual humility. A surrender is actually a sign of hopelessness. And it makes no sense to some people. It's like you're actually hopeless and dejected. How can you follow? How are you able to follow? But the more helpless you are, the more you'll be able to follow, actually, because as long as you have any hope for yourself, then you'll follow that instead of Krishna's path. But if you're actually hopeless, then you adhere to the orders of the spiritual master and the previous acharyas. But as long as you have any hope for yourself or anybody else who's a fallible soldier, then it'll be difficult to follow strictly the orders of the spiritual master and chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regs. Because you think, maybe if I follow this idea or that idea, or follow this person, that person, some psychology book, so many people want to depend on everything else except Krishna. It's like, okay, how is that going to help? Krishna's ideas are pure, free from the 4 defects. But some guy who got his PhD or something, he may say something that sounds nice and maybe gratifies our false ego or massages our false ego. You may think, that makes me feel good. Yeah, he probably knows what he's talking about. But when I hear from Krishna directly or the Acharya who speaks very strongly, that doesn't make me feel good. So maybe they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. Maybe I need to do something else. So someone may be confused. But that means you have hope in this world still. You have hope in yourself and everyone else, but not Krishna. So one who given up all hope for this material world, then naturally he won't follow the modes of material nature, because he's only following Krishna. Daivi Shagunamai means you've given up hope. Anything that this world has to offer, any idea born from this world, and you only want to follow Krishna's plans. If you're going to live in this world, why not live the way Krishna wants you to live? Why live and walk and dress and look like the world wants you to dress and look? That's what Arjuna was saying. How does a self-realized person sit? How does he speak? How does he engage a sense or not engage a sense? All these, Arjuna wanted to see, how does he live in this world? And what did Krishna answer? He says, the first thing is, he gives up all varieties of mental concoction, meaning he doesn't follow any more of his ideas because all his fabrication of his mind is everything that's been dumped into our mind is from this world. So he gives all that crap up and he just says, I'll follow Krishna. If we have to live in this world, then do it the way Krishna wants you to do it. And then the modes of material nature will not touch you. That's the safest route. And that's what pious people do, actually, those who approach Krishna. They're pious means they agree to adhere to Krishna's will in this world, even though they want to enjoy the material world, or they're attached to their fruits or their particular work, like the demigods. They're attached to their work and they're attached to enjoying this material world. But they dare not do it whimsically. They know the moment they deviate from Krishna's will, again become a mouse. You may have gotten a very high position, but you forget who you got that high position from, you again become a mouse. Just like Indra. Indra had to fall from his position, although he was the king of the heavenly planets. The moment he forgot that his pious mercy of Brihaspati, the spiritual master, and he didn't pay his obeisances to his spiritual master when he walked in, he's thinking, I'm here enjoying my position. He forgot, he noticed he should immediately pay obeisance to the spiritual master. But he didn't do that, so he fell down from his position for some time because of that. And he knew, sometimes we know, I shouldn't have done that. And we did it. We again become a mouse. We become puffed up, so again become a mouse. So we have to be very cautious and Krishna conscious and pray to Krishna to help us. Because without his mercy, we wouldn't have gotten so far, and as long as we remember that, then we can be properly situated. Material nature won't touch us. So Prabhupada was always himself praying to Krishna, don't let Maya touch me. Please protect me. He said, because I'm always praying to Krishna to protect me from illusion, that's why I can't fall down. So devotees should always feel, I'm very fallible. There's only one infallible person, that's Krishna. Everyone else is fallible. And those who are infallible, it's only by Krishna's mercy. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is such a great soul is very rare. One who is fully surrendered to Krishna, in full knowledge that he is the cause of all causes. There's no one beyond Krishna. Full stop. Once you can't think of anything beyond him. That's it. That's a very rare soul. And he's convinced of that. And Krishna says generally that takes many, many births. So Prabhupada in one lectures, if after many, many births, that's the conclusion you're going to come to, then why waste time? Why not immediately surrender? Why not immediately? If it's going to take many births to surrender to Krishna, that's the conclusion. Why wait? Why not just do it? Directly go to him. Why go through so many hoops and, let me do this first, let me understand, some psychological reason why I have this problem or that problem. It's like eventually you have to surrender to Krishna. That's the real solution. Why not start doing that? Don't put that on pause in order to do something else in the name of it's going to help me surrender to Krishna one day. Only surrendering can help you surrender. It's like, yes, Magadari Prabhu.
Well, sometimes we may think that, okay, I'll read some other books. And, after I read those books, eventually I come back to Gita and then I understand the part that I didn't understand last time.
Yeah.
So I'm making my way. And if I didn't do all those other things that weren't Krishna conscious, Aren't all those things leading me to this very moment right now, which is Krishna conscious? So how can I say that those weren't perfect or I regret them?
Yeah. It's an interesting logic that people come up with. But it's not actually true, because nothing material can give you a spiritual experience. So all of it is just indirect. And because it's indirect, it's ultimately an impediment that has to be given up. We have to have full faith in God. That's the only solution. But material energy does one job. It makes you faithless. So it's either going to make you faithless towards God or faithless towards trying to be God. So she'll do her job very nicely. So we don't have to worry. Someone's not ready yet, let him bake in the material world for a little bit longer. Okay, we'll come back to this guy. He needs to be in the samsara a little bit longer. Burning in the forest fire. And don't worry, then whatever way, they'll become indirectly purified some way or another through the material energy. You can say it's yoga, it's that or this or that. Everything can purify you. The material world is like that. Some people, you can have a bad relationship, and that bad relationship can be the impetus to seek out perfect relationship. And you say, oh, Krishna is the perfect relationship. Unless we have him, all my other relationships are useless. So anything can do it for somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be one thing, which gives you indirect impetus. But you don't need that indirect impetus. You can become attracted to Krishna directly. He's attractive. It's like Krishna is not complete, It's like he's not attractive on his own. You need some other thing to attract you to Krishna. How does that make any sense? He is sufficient to attract us. So we're the problem. Because he's attractive, but we're not attracted to him, then must be a problem with us. So we take up his process, chanting Hare Krishna, associating with him more, associating with devotees more. The thing is, the soul wants Krishna, actually. The soul cannot be satisfied without Krishna. So if you associate with Krishna long enough, and you hear about him long enough, you eventually become attracted. Just like, how is it possible for a living entity to be attracted to stool? It's like, they make him by force. In the hellish planets, he gets a body, and when they force a little bit of stool on him, at first he doesn't like it. He's like, oh God, stool. It's not what I signed up for. But after some time, that's all they're feeding him. He's like, it's not so bad. Once he gets a taste, okay, pig's body, hog's life. It's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. That's how the living entity is trained to like anything. Actually, attraction, that's a symptom of the soul. So either we're attracted to Krishna, or we'll be attracted to a stool. And the hog is enjoying. Anyone seen hogs eating stool or eating trash and stuff? Is it happen in America? Probably not so much, huh? Does it happen here also? Not much. I only seen it in India. I mean, it's amazing to see. It's just unbelievable. It's just like, how is this animal just eating the most grotesque things? He's just living in so much garbage and stool, and just like, he's just loving it. He's just searching, where's stool? And he's just like, and he's such a huge beast of a creature, black, dirty, and disgusting. And he's just like looking for stool right early in the morning. As soon as the sun rising, he knows people must have passed some stool somewhere. So he's just walking around, just looking for stool. And that's his whole life. And you have that little stool eating piglets children also walking around with them. You see them in the train tracks also, when you're on the train, or anywhere there's garbage. Just so many of them. It's just like, and it's just like, wow, what a life. Yeah, you.
Hare Krishna. I was just wondering, because you said that we have to surrender to Krishna sometime. So my question was, it's like a yes or no question. So do we have to? Does surrender mean prayer, or is there more that entails surrender?
Surrender. Yeah, there's a 6th process to Sharanagati. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya bhajanam prashikshashiti vishvaso guptritve varanam tata atmanishepa karpanye savida sharanagati. So this is described by the 6 Goswamis, namely Srila Rupa Goswami. The main principles of surrender, anukulyasya sankalpa, it is my will, my determination. Whatever is favorable for devotional service, I immediately accept it. If it's favorable for my devotionals, I accept it. It's my sankalpa, it's my determination, meaning it's my will. It's my vow, you can say, that if something's favorable for me to surrender to Krishna, whatever it is, I will not hesitate to take advantage of it. So this is something one has to do when he's surrendering. And this is, even if it's an unfavorable circumstance, we may accept it if it's going to help us surrender to Krishna more. If it's not a challenging circumstance, so one has to be ready for that. That's part of surrender. And was it anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam, and then give up that which is unfavorable, like stool. It doesn't hesitate. If it's unfavorable for my Krishna consciousness, it's going to determine Krishna consciousness some way. It's going to block my devotional service. Then I must reject it immediately. So, so this means taking shelter of Krishna. Krishna is going to protect me. You have to also know that. And when you're in the process of Sharanagati, I only depend on one protector. That's Krishna. Not that this person will protect me, that will protect me. Goptritve varanam tatha. And Krishna is my maintainer. He's not just my protector, but he's my maintainer also. He's maintaining me. He's maintaining my family, my home, everything. Not that I'm maintaining my family, just like my father. Because I'm maintaining this household. It's like illusion. And what if you die? Who's maintaining them now? So many people think like that. I cannot do devotional service because I'm too busy to maintain my family. But it's like, you're not maintaining your family. Krishna is. He's giving you strength, money, all these things. He's making arrangements. So we should not be under that illusion. Let me see, what did I say already? Anukulas sankalpa pratikulas vajanam shishati vishasagotri atmanishepa karpanya. So atmanishepa means full surrender. Atmanishepa is full surrender to Krishna, actually. In this atmanishepa, I give everything to Krishna, actually. And then, what is it? Karpanya means also maintaining full humility. Karpanya. There's no sense of ego or pride in the process of Sharanagati. Pride is for those who are ignorant on their illusion, to think that they have something worth being proud of. Some people say, Maharaj, I'm so proud, what do I do? My Guru Maharaj says, what do you have to be proud of? That's the first question to answer. First, what is there for you to be proud of in this area? And then you have to think, wait a second, what am I proud of? It actually makes no logical sense to be proud, because nothing belongs to us. So there's no room for enjoyment of our senses unnecessarily in Krishna consciousness. Nothing is for us. Then why would you try to enjoy what's not yours? You will see it as for Krishna, not for me. So, lose some points for Sharanagati. Yes, Bhakta Jacob.
Hare Krishna, thanks for your nice class. My question is how, it's kind of tied to this, how do we know, like a few signs of how we know we're making advancement in spiritual life?
How do we know if we're making advancement for spiritual life?
That we're not plateauing, you know?
That we're not plateauing. Yeah, there's a positive way and there's a negative way. Prabhupada gives both. There's a bhakti parishanubhava virakti anyatra. That devotional service is given the example like eating morsels of food. When you eat morsels of food, you feel some nourishment, right? So some energy is increasing. At the same time, that hunger that was disturbing you is no longer disturbing you as well. So two things are happening. In devotional service, you're doing devotional service properly, you will become attracted to Krishna more and more. And Krishna doesn't just mean Krishna's form, pastime, but the process of Krishna, of understanding Krishna or devotional service, the whole thing. There's so many aspects of devotional service that we may not have full attraction for, but as we make progress, we'll attract to everything. Reading, chanting, serving devotees, cooking, cleaning, so many things, full package. At the same time, our hunger will decrease, means our desires for this world will decrease more and more. We want to exploit ourselves or exploit others unnecessarily. This will happen. And now we cannot be confused because we're very much experienced with this. We know very much lust. What is lust? We're expert in that. So we cannot be confused with that. So Prabhupada would say, you don't need a certificate for Krishna consciousness. No one needs to say, you're making advancement. It's just, you're very familiar with lust. You know when it's decreasing or not. If you know, is it worse than it was when you first came? Or is it the same? So it's like, it should decrease gradually as genuine attraction for Krishna is genuine repulsion for being envious towards him or exploiting others and yourself unnecessarily. So that should be there. It's nice. Before we may not have felt bad about exploiting someone else, but now if we do, or even think of the idea of exploiting someone else, we may feel bad. We may feel, wow, I don't want to do. That's a good sign. So those are some indications that Srila Prabhupada gives. Of course, there's other indications, like I mentioned. We should develop some genuine interest in certain pastimes of Krishna or certain services. That's also how we can see. We can be where we should be. If like what affects Krishna also affects you, that's a good sign. What affects the devotees also affects you. What affects your spiritual master also. If you know, that's a sign of progress. It's like if the spiritual master is disturbed and you're also disturbed, that's good. If you genuinely care about somebody, when they're unhappy, you will be unhappy. When they're happy, you will feel happy also. So devotees celebrate when Krishna is happy. Krishna comes back to Vrindavan, devotees feel happy. Krishna has to leave Vrindavan, they feel sad. They know Krishna is not so happy outside of Vrindavan. So we can see when Akura comes, if we're feeling happy that he's taken away Krishna, maybe that's not a good sign. So, oh no, he's taking Krishna away. But anyways, that's a little bit probably beyond us. But we can at least know for sure if our lust is decreasing, that is a good sign. At least if we feel bad about it, that's pretty good. Most people don't feel bad about exploiting others or themselves. You got something, Joe? I thought you raised your hand. No? Okay. So, right, we're right on time. So we'll end there.